I had this super bright idea that I wanted to do a tile tabletop, you know, the ones that's all over Pinterest. I already had a old tabletop, which is the Ikea Linnmon tabletop. I no longer had uses for it. It used to be my craft table, but I'm going in another direction for that. I needed a kitchen table, so I said instead of throwing the tabletop away, why not repurpose this and turn it into something new? So, you know, here we go. So this is the stuff that I got from Home Depot. This is the Ikea Linnmon Tabletop. So basically just the wood that I had cut down to size, the hanger bolts, and the plates, and my drill. So here you'll see me just drilling a hole in the top of the wood where I would like to place my hanger bolts so I can attach that to the metal plates. Another tip I have for you guys is when drilling your hole for your hanger bolt, make sure that you are drilling as straight as possible. Also, if you see in the beginning of the video, I placed a piece of tape on the drill bit, and that's basically to ensure that I don't go too deep into the wood. And so how I determined that was that I put the drill bit against the hanger bolt, and there's like a separation, like you know where the split is going to be or how far down you should put your bolt in. And so I put the tape, you know, I measured it, put the tape, and that's how I was able to determine. Another tip, which I found out on, which I kind of found out on my own, to get the most accurate straightness when screwing in your legs is to put the bolt into the metal plates that are attached to the tabletop first. Screw those in and then screw your legs in. It makes a world of difference, and it makes it so much easier to get your legs straight. And also, you know, it will ensure that you won't strip your bolts, because if you strip your bolts, then it will become useless, because then they will not attach to the legs or the plates. Here I'm just pretty much attaching those plates to the tabletop. Those plates are needed in order to attach the legs to the table. And also with IKEA tabletops, they have pre-drilled holes, but it won't match up with the plates. So what I would suggest you do is put the plate down so that you can see where you want your holes to be. Take a small drill bit, nothing too big. Take a small one and just pre-drill your holes. So you should do that before you actually get the screw and put it in, because you don't want to split your wood. And especially these tabletops are not solid wood. It's called particle wood. So it's not the best of wood. Once you have your pre-drilled holes, then you can take your screws and you can either screw them in or drill them in, whichever works for you. I do notice that some screws aren't sturdy like that. Like, I guess they might not be the best quality. So if they're not good screws, they will get stripped and you will not be able to screw them in, drill them in. But these particular screws that come in this pack are pretty sturdy. So you can use your drill in order to screw those in. Here you just see me attaching the legs to the table. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just attaching the legs to the table and getting everything prepared so that I can start the second process. So here I have all four legs screwed in. I'm just flipping the table over to see how it looks, see how it's standing, making sure that everything is level and it's not wobbly. So this is the table completed with the legs attached. As you see, I pretty much peeled off one of the side pieces because it was coming off. So now I'm prepping to lay the towels. I'm just putting them down to see exactly how I want them to be placed. And then, once I do that, I will take the towel glue and pretty much just, put it on the back of the towels and then just start putting them where I want them to be laid at. And not for nothing, that towel glue, it's the consistency is just like a loose kind of glue, like an Elmer's glue. But baby, when that glue gets on the towel and it sits, it definitely stays. And here I'm just pretty much cutting the tiles because if you don't know anything about tiling, it's like a mesh panel that the tiles are attached to. So I just was cutting them off so I can place them on the sides of the table. And see, here is the glue that I was speaking of. Like I said, that glue, once it dries, it's there. That's why it's very important to make sure that you have your towel placement the way that you want it before you attach that adhesive. So now I'm just pretty much attaching the tiles, picking them up from where I had placed them, putting the adhesive on and attaching them to the table. And I'm pretty much just wiping as I go because you will get some of the towel glue. It would seep through the little mesh pieces and the little, cracks. So I'm just wiping that up as I go so that it won't be hard to clean. At this point, I'm just, like I said, just laying the towels down, listening to music, singing, dancing. You definitely need to have a little fun to get you through this process because it can be a long and tedious process. At this point, I'm pretty much towards the end of the table, just putting those last pieces. And once I finish those last pieces, the squares that I had cut towards the beginning of the tiling process, I'll be putting around the edges of the table. So here I'm just basically gluing the tiles to the table. The stuff that I used was recommended by a Home Depot employee. It's extra strength and it's really, really good. It's the consistency is really loose. I really didn't think that it would be as strong as it was, but that stuff was extremely strong. Once it dries, like the towels are not moving, they're not coming off. And I bought two tubes, and the two tubes was good enough for the whole entire table. I think I have like a little bit left. See, it's called Fix a Floor, but yeah, that stuff is really, really good. I paid about $12 per tube. So here I'm just gluing the tiles to the side of the table. Basically what I did was that I put the glue on the back of the tiles and I let the glue sit for a few minutes so it could become a little tacky since the glue was a runny consistency. And then once I figured it would be good enough to put to the tape, here to the side of the table, that's what I did. And in order to hold them, I put some masking tape because if you'll see in a few minutes, the tiles will fall off because they're really heavy, so they'll fall off if you don't have anything helping them stay, see, to the side of the table. So I had some masking tape, and what I did to all along the sides is that once I placed the tiles with the glue, then I put the masking tape, and I practically left the masking tape until I was ready to grout, which would be like the next day. By that time, you know for a fact that your glue has dried and that your towels are affixed to the table. And like I said, that stuff is really, really strong, and once it dries, like those towels are going nowhere. So yeah. So here is the next day after I adhered all the tiles to the table. So the next thing I needed to do was break up the tiles because the legs weren't as wide as the tiles were. So I had to break them up, which was totally a waste of time. Um, I'll tell you why. But I really, anyway, so this is me grouting the table. And I've had this table for a while, and I believe that I should have grouted it a little bit more than what I did. So I do plan on going back in and regrouting the table, also making a couple other adjustments. And one of those adjustments will be with the table legs. Like, tiles are very heavy, and so the tabletop is way, way, way heavier than the legs are able to support. The legs, I think they're like 2x2s, and I needed something way thicker. I did go to Home Depot and speak with a guy in regards to this, and he pointed me in the direction of the type of wood that I needed. I forgot the width of the wood that was needed, so I do plan to go back and get the wood. I know it's very, very heavy. I do plan on going back in and buying the wood to pretty much support the legs. I'm definitely not going to tile it because I know I don't have enough tile to do the legs, so I more than likely will sand and varnish, but this is it. The legs are all grouted, and that's the end of my project. Hope you like.